particular people because as far as American culture, it's a joint effort. How can I blame one person? How can I blame the present people that's out there now? It's been all the culture the whole time. Go back and look from the 1980 to the present time, please. As far as music and movies and all types of various different types of entertainment and the culture and the sexual culture. Won't you look from 1980 to 2022? And this is all what influenced your children. Boom, 7. So it would explain acts of forbidden love. It would explain acts of forbidden sex. It would probably take up 40% of the blame. And I'm being generous. It probably takes 60% of the blame, really. But I say between 40 and 60% of the blame is because of your American culture. You're not an Islamic religious country. You're a rock and roll country. Yeah, you can't fool me. I know too much. You're a rock and roll country. Got girls drinking beers and shaking butt on TV. Then you expect your kids not to want to drink a beer and shake their butt. Okay. That's how silly you are. They see beautiful images of beautiful women and men on TV drinking beer and they think it's cool because they see some beautiful woman doing it. Now they want to smoke a cigarette. Yeah, you see where I'm going with this? This is part of what, as far as children goes, I'm vouching for people that did things as children. Because at the end of the day, you're trying to hurt a child. Well, if they was a child when they did it, you're trying to hurt a child, even if they're an adult. So you see how I still win? Boom, 7. At the end of the day, you're still trying to hurt a child. That person was a child at the time. And you don't have the luxury of defining what a child should be like. Who are you to say what a child should be like? Who are you? You may have come from a military family that made you get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. That's why you the way you are. You come from a military family, a police family. That's why you are that's why you crazy now. And the only thing you can say, well, when I was a child, I was doing this. You try to sugarcoat it and make it seem good. I was mature as a child. You was also almost tortured as a child. Living under a military roof, living under police roof. And then you get older and then you look down on other people who have freedoms and liberties that you didn't have. So you don't understand why they did the things they did. Well, they didn't have to wake up at the break of dawn like you did. So that's part of the American community that likes to sit on this pious, self-righteous horse that they have. Yeah, you grew up almost tortured. That's why you wasn't doing nothing. Yeah, well, I never had any acts of forbidden love. You never had the opportunity. Your family would have killed you. They would have killed you. Would have beat you in your head. But most of us Americans that didn't grow up under military roofs and police roofs and any other kind of roofs like that, we had certain liberties to be with other children. And you can't hold us liable for that with your American culture that's out of control, that's still out of control sexually. And another thing I would like to say is also, you can't think that a child's supposed to say, ooh, I can't have sex with that person. That's a child. Why would a child say that? That's a 7. Why would a child say, I shouldn't have sex with another child? That's a 7. And you have older women, older children, younger children that have crushes on older children. And sometimes that's how that happens. but nevertheless, they still are children. What the child may see is wrong with it, to be real, is not the age, it's the fact that they're having sex. That's what's wrong in the mind of a child. Ooh, we shouldn't be doing this. But you still do it, though. That's the main thing. You're not thinking about, ooh, I'm an adult. I shouldn't be playing with this child, because you're a child yourself. You're going to be like, okay, you may think, I don't think children are going to say, well, that's too young for me to have sex with. And you're a child yourself. You're going to have that level of maturity. And y'all both are under 18. And the feelings are mutual. No one's forced to do anything. No one's forced to do anything. Nobody got raped. Nobody got raped now. That's what I'm vouching for. Now, if you rape somebody, you raped a girl as a kid or something like that, you physically restrained them physically to a sex act. Now, I will have mercy because you were a child, and at the end of the day, you still made a childish decision. You didn't make a decision as of an adult because you're not an adult. How can you do it? How can you do it? And better to say, how can you be held to do it? This is where you get whippings. This is where kids get disciplined. They don't get thrown in jail. They get whippings. They don't get stoned by their community. They don't get persecuted and witch hunted. Children get whippings. Boom. 7. So if you find someone that has done something and they're an adult, unfortunately, it's too late. I mean, literally. I mean, if there is any damage done, it's already done. It's been done. And this is the last country to talk about justice. You can't be serious. You can't be serious. Maybe somewhere else, but in America, come on, man. You cannot even talk about justice. You have, as far as justice and injustices, I would say you have about 60 to 70% of injustices going on in your country that never gets nothing done about. The other 30% is probably because it's extreme things done, and that's the only reason you force justice. It's not because you have such a strong justice system. Something happened that was extreme, and you decided you had to do something about it because of the pressure of the community. It's the same thing when they do these shootings, these police shootings. They sometimes they don't even get brought to justice, and these police would not be brought to justice if you did not go out and protest. If you said nothing, these people probably wouldn't even get convicted. It's only the pressure of the community that brings these police that do get convicted to justice. 60 to 70% of the other situations, if you don't say nothing, y'all don't say nothing out there, that's just going to be another dead person. I guarantee you that. It's the pressure that comes from the media coverage and the protesting. It puts pressure. That puts pressure on your American justice system. And that's the only reason they respond. That's the only reason. Other than that, look at all these other things that's been going on. Okay, so understand the difference, folks. You got to get educated. See, a lack of education is one of the biggest problems in our community. And see, when you say education, it's not just mathematics, science, social studies, and English. Education is when you receive knowledge of something. It's when you receive information of something. This is when it happens. That's when you're educated. If you don't know something, you are not educated. If you don't know something, you don't have the right to act like you know something. This is why it's so dangerous to be uneducated, because you don't have the right to say nothing, really. Now, do you? Well, if you got 44 states with child marriage, who are you to even talk about anything? You're uneducated. You're uninformed of your community. You're uneducated. So who are you to enforce anything? And this is what punchline. This is what leads us to anarchy. You know why? You know why anarchy is coming? You know why anarchy is coming? Because no one feels the need. Listen to this. For all you people that love anarchy, you got the A's and the circles and all this you like to put on your skateboards. You like to put it on shirts. You like to put on your underwear. You got it everywhere. You got it on your screen, on your phone. Let me help you with understanding what's really going to make it happen. The real reason anarchy is going to happen is because people, the corruption that is going to be in the systems, these laws, like I'm telling you, this is why this is the beginning of anarchy. Because you're going to feel no need to acknowledge something that is not just. So you're going to, in other words, you're not going to have, the reason why anarchy is going to come is because people are going to feel no need to obey a system that is unjust and that is breaking the laws themselves. Again, anarchy is going to come because people are going to feel the need to not obey something that does not obey common sense, good morals, and justice and righteousness and goodness. Now you have a country that's marrying children. Anarchy is on the way. Because why should I obey them when they do not obey common sense? When they do not obey goodness and righteousness, why should I obey their system? Explain. Do you feel the need to obey people and these police and their system when they got 44 states with child marriage? You feel the need to still submit to them? And they're having sex with your children. They're freaking your children. You feel the need? Then this tells you right here that this is the beginning of the end of law. You know what anarchy even means? A lawless community of chaos. See, what you thought was, well, they're going to start shooting out in the streets and all of this, and then anarchy is going to come, then martial law. No, you don't. What's going to make it happen? And I had two thoughts at one time when I was trying to tell you in the beginning. What's going to make it happen is no one feels the need to obey the American government because they have 44 states with child marriage. They have all these different ludicrous laws, and your American politicians and laws are going to be so corrupt and so evil and so opposite of you. Anarchy is going to start because of that. What else? Well, if you had a good law system, why would there be anarchy? If you had a good system that was good to you, why would you feel the need to rebel? Now you're getting it. Now you see what the reality is that's going to shock a lot of these people is that your politicians are human beings. I know. You thought they were righteous and perfect and holy like nuns, didn't you? See what you about to find out. Oh, and you're already finding it out through Donald Trump. See, he's the beginning of it. You're going to begin to see that they are just as evil and disgusting as this community that you live in. And therefore, you ain't gonna feel no need to obey none of them. Not the laws that they make, not the politicians. You're going to see their humanity more than ever in full color, in HD, and you're going to have an epiphany that I feel no need to obey this. The devil attacks them too. I know you think they don't fart, do you? You think all the present politicians just sit there, eat their soup, and don't fart? They're just like you. And now, because we live in an evil world where Satan is real, he's in their ear all the time. Because Satan likes power. He doesn't come down to the lowest person in society. He comes to the highest person in society and say, you know what you need to do? You need to make 44 states with child marriage. And these politicians listen to the satanic kingdom. God didn't tell them that. You think God told them that? You think God told them to get 44 states with child marriage? Put child marriage in 44 states. You think God told them that? Come on. Use your brain. A child cannot even share the responsibilities of an adult in any form or fashion. So why would you be married to someone that you're pulling along like a child? Why would you do that? It's only for sex. That's all it's for. So they were listening to the satanic kingdom. 44 states with child marriage. Satan, his kingdom came down. Maybe not him himself, but he sent his spirits. So when I say the satanic kingdom, I'm not saying Satan himself, or when I say the devil, I'm not saying him himself. He sends his representatives. He sends his spirits and his people. Why don't you give them? Why don't y'all give child marriage down there? Why don't y'all get some 40? Why don't you do 44 states with child marriage? And now, how can God help you? When you know in your heart of hearts, there's no Americans that agree with that. You can't sugarcoat that because no one agrees with it by a long shot. Ain't nobody sitting up here agreeing with that. Ain't nobody sitting up here agreeing with that. Ain't nobody agreeing with that. Anybody want children to get married? Anybody in America? Anybody out there want children to get married? So that means when we all find this out, which is soon, I was a catalyst to help this be found out. Hear this part closely. This is the catalyst for anarchy. This is the catalyst for anarchy. Because as soon as you find this out, why are you going to want to obey them? And now you see, now you get it. Now you see why it's going to happen. Because if you had a perfect system, like I said, why would you be out in the street shooting with gas masks on? Why would you be out there for? You got all your needs met. You got everything you need. Why do you need to fight? In other words, why do you need to disobey? Why do you need to disobey something that is doing everything for you and that you respect and that you honor? Why you feel the need to disobey that and rebel against it? See, anarchy is going to be real. I'm not a person that is a philosopher of anarchy, but once I understood the definition of what it was, I understood it was basically, I think I understood at that point, at least I do now, it's inevitable because they're getting more corrupt, they're more immoral, they're doing worse stuff than you doing. So why would you have them on top of you? Explain that. Explain why would you have them on top of you and they marry children? I don't care how good they look. I don't care what they look like. Joe Biden is one of the sneaky-faced people I've ever seen. He's the same man that actually tried to tell other countries to not allow Edward Snowden to find refuge in their countries. But he can look at you with that straight face and you can't tell he's that type of person. Edward Snowden is a person that comes from a line of military and government positions. His family does. And he had a position within the government himself. And he found out that the American government had people under surveillance, had the American community under surveillance. So he revealed this information and he long story short, he had to wind up leaving the country. And when he did, Joe Biden, the man that's in office right now, went after this man that revealed to the American community that we were under illegal surveillance. Joe Biden didn't care nothing about him, the truth of that. He cared more about this man not finding refuge in another country once he left. He cared about that. He threatened other leaders not to help this man. And he done left the country. What else can he do? This is how America really is. Because you'll look at a character like me and say, why don't you just leave? Look what happened to Edward Snowden. Edward Snowden did leave. He went to Russia. He's in Russia now. Why you downing Russia? Russia done took in one of your own that told the truth about illegal surveillance in America. Guess who took him in? Russia. Somebody who told you the truth, that he lived in it. Not some conspiracy theorist. He worked a government job, and this man named Edward Snowden, and he found out, working his job, that the American government had put us under illegal surveillance, putting many people under illegal surveillance. Edward Snowden, the same man, revealed this to the American community. And Joe Biden is the one that went after him. See, we can't get a revolution from the top. Now, if you was a righteous leader, you would say, thank you for this information. Let's do something about this. Same thing with me. If you was righteous leaders, you hear me talking about 44 states marrying children. Thank you. Let's do something about this. You know what they're doing instead of doing that? They're fighting me. Now, if you was a righteous leader, you be, thank you. Thank you so much for this information. You know what the community is doing? Nothing. So I rule. I rule over you as far as goodness, morality. I rule over all of you. Well, you're allowing 44 states to marry children saying nothing. I rule. You're a lower level quality of people than me. Well, you're not saying anything. You have a responsibility to do that. I know. You thought your only responsibility as an adult was to get out here and work. Unfortunately, in the real world, we have more responsibilities than working. Oh, yeah. You got community responsibilities. You got government responsibilities. You got a whole bunch of responsibilities that us as adults we have outside of working our little jobs that we work. And if you don't hold up to those responsibilities, then guess what? You're not going to have a country much longer because it's going to get out of control. If you don't take responsibility, someone else is. And that's exactly what has happened. People have taken responsibility over all of the things that you weren't doing, all of the things that you wasn't acknowledging. And now it's out of control, and now you want to do something about it. This is how revolution started. Because one person like me tells you what happened, and you're like, oh man, I didn't know. Then everybody goes crazy, and then we have a revolution. But I didn't mean to go too hard on that. I had to, though, because I had to clear out all the foolishness. But now, when you got forbidden love, back to that. You got forbidden love, forbidden sex, forbidden lust, sex, love. You can't, in American culture, let me help you. That is not child molestation. Even if it's among family, you can't really even say it's incest. And I can't really say it because it has to be an adult that's with a child in a family for it to be incest. If it's two children, that's not incest. That in actuality, it's children experimenting. It's children experimenting. So how are you gonna call that incest and children experimenting? How are you gonna call it child molestation when children are experimenting? No, see, again, a lot of y'all ain't educated. So you just say any and everything. You ain't educated on racism. What's racism? You don't even know. Well, when somebody hates another race, that's what racism is. You know what real racism is? When somebody looks at you and hates you based on who you are. Just looking at you, they hate you. That's the definition of racism that's going on here in your country. If somebody's not looking at you like they hate you and just because you black or white or whatever, and you can see clearly that they don't show hate when they first see you, that's racism. That's hardcore racism. Soon as they see you, they don't like you. When I ask you that, you can't even give me a clear answer. What is racism? Racism, when I see, is when a white person sees a black person and automatically hates them. Not because you did something. Not because you did something. It's unprovoked. It's for no reason. It's just because you're black. It ain't because you did something wrong. And see, we need to understand this too, because see, some of y'all uneducated. We have wars among each other as black people. Yes, we do. Well, why are these people killing each other then? Explain. So I can assume if they're killing each other, that we have conflicts, right? 7. Well, you can't do nothing worse than killing somebody. So then we can assume that anything under killing somebody is happening among black people when they have black on black gang violence and violence, gun violence. You can assume everything else is happening, right? Well, calling each other niggers, that probably can happen if they're killing each other, can it? Being racist towards each other, that probably can happen if they're killing each other, can it? So if they're killing each other, it shouldn't be far-fetched for anything else. And you see it right in front of your eyes, and guess what you do? You see the worst thing that can happen between two individuals, and what do? What do you say about it? You know what you did? You got desensitized. You got desensitized. You seen so much black on black killing, you stopped talking about it. Yeah. You want me to tell you who the sellouts are? Black people killing each other. That's the sellouts. Don't you tell me nothing about no sellout when you got each other killing each other. Don't you even open your mouth to me because I'm educated. You go talk to them idiots out there. Don't you talk to me, to an educated black man, about racism in America. If you don't know what you're talking about, don't talk to me. Because I ain't going by no animosity. I'm going by gangbanging and killing, black people killing each other first, getting that together first. Because you can't talk about racism if you killing each other. Well, the white man that hates you is not killing you, is he? He's in his house drinking beer while you're blowing each other's brains out. The white racist man that you hate so much, oh, he's racist, but guess what? He ain't killing you. So let's clear things up. Let's come back down to reality. What's worse, a racist white man or somebody shooting your brains out? Now, you ain't got to be the smartest person in the world. You know somebody shooting somebody else's brains out is worse than a racist white man. You see where we at? This is where we are. Because, it's another example of something that you gave responsibility to someone else about. You just said, well, I work too much. I can't do it. I can't worry about that. And look at it now. It's out of control. You stop protesting. You stop saying anything about it. You stop talking to your own family about it. You just say, I got to work, and that's all. I can't do nothing else. And you left it untended, and now look at it. Now you don't know who to blame, do you? You don't even know who to blame. Who you want to blame? Me? For why you killing each other? For why you out of control? Can't be serious. And that's what I'm saying. That's why education is so important. You don't even know what racism is. Well, let's look at it like this. Now, here's the punchline. Here's the punchline. All I can tell you is when somebody black, most of the time, see another black person, that's who they rob and shoot. That's a 7. Well, it was based on appearance. He seen you was black. You don't think that's considered? Okay, let me give you another example. When you have somebody, a thug that's black, he see a white person, he know if he robbed that person and he hurt that person, he going to jail.